day of CES 2026 Las Vegas, and by most measures, it was quite a success. Well, then there's this gentleman by the name of, well, I don't know his real name. His YouTube channel name is Quantum TV. And I only started seeing his vlogs about tech because his face popped up in searches for CES 2026 Las Vegas and for CES for the first time for me. Okay. So I have been credentialed to cover CES, as you know, every year since 2010. And because of my caregiving duties for my mom, who's now 91, yay, I have not been able to go. And the last time I went, I took mom. We had a fantastic time. And that was a really incredible experience for me. A lot of great interviews I got, a lot of great food too. And I love it when my mom has a great time. My mom loves Las Vegas. I can go on and on and on. But what bothered me about this gentleman, well, you can see right in the title. Get your attention. It says CES, or reads rather, CES 2026 was a disaster. Regular people were completely ignored. And then he goes on to say that, well, first of all, he didn't go. I mean, how do you know that regular people were ignored if you didn't go? Let me open up by saying this. I don't want to criticize uh, the gentleman because, in a harsh way, because like me, he's an African American blogger at CES, and we are a rare breed. There need to be more of us, and I'm pleased to see that increasingly being the case. Morgan DeBaum of Blavity was there, who also has the Afro Tech Expo. I noticed her videos for the first time. So hey, look, we are a growing presence, and it's great to see. So, and we all need to work together uh, for the reasons of that there aren't many of us, and we need to support the ones that are active and encourage more of us to be there, right? So I'm not going to be harsh with the young man, uh, but I just simply disagree with his point. He focuses on televisions and saying that the televisions like the 85 inches and everything else are for people who make a ton of money. I get it. But my favorite part of CES isn't the televisions. It used to be starting out, but CES has changed a lot since I started covering it. My favorite place to go has been Eureka Park. And if you want to see tech for the common person, that's where you go. And that's why I felt that this gentleman just hasn't had a full taste of CES. Um, he would say, what's Eureka Park? Eureka is a large set of booths that comprise a special, well, the Sand, we used to call it the Sands Expo. Now it's called something else like that, but Sands, owned by Las Vegas Sands, um, uh, who in turn, which in turn was owned by Sheldon Adelson, and now is owned by his wife, Sheldon Adelson, rest in peace. He built much of Las Vegas, a good portion of it, along with Steve Wynn and others. Anyway, uh, that place was the home of really interesting mini tech-based products. Um, and one product that is actually sitting over here, I'm not even going to, I'm so exhausted because it's late, really, and when I'm not even going to get up and, well, I will point to it. I'm not going to bother pointing to it. But my whole point is it's a kind of clock radio that you can also, uh, that is also designed to power your computers and, well, any device that has a USB power capability, has the capability to draw power from a USB cord, right? It's very handy to have in here. Um, and my mom loves it. What did it cost? Well, I think at the time he was selling it for 49 bucks, but he gave it to me for free. Fellow at the Monster booth. He gave it to me for free. And so, in fact, come to think of it, Monster isn't even at, you know, Eureka Park, but I happen to think about the product because it's right here in my face. All right. Another one is Bingy Lock by uh, who the makers of Bingy Lock, or I should say the entrepreneur of Bingy Lock, was a Shark Tank uh, winner. He received $100,000 from Kevin O'Leary, and he lives in L.A. Great guy, and just he has what did he win? He has a special sort of um, bio is it biometrically activated um, uh, lock, right? You put your it unlocks if you put your fingerprint on it rather than um, a standard lock that you have to hold in your hand or your pocket or something like that, right? And um, uh, the gentleman that did this, I was the first person to interview, Robbie Cabral. Bingy Lock is not an expensive device. It's not for the 1%. It's for everybody. It's a great, smart invention. And Robbie is a really hardworking, very nice, very driven man from the Dominican Republic, who has he's wont to wear Kangol caps or hats, very stylish, right? So I always root for Robbie. And at any rate, and I said he got $100,000. Excuse me, it was actually $200,000. All right, and Kevin O'Leary got 15% of what he was doing. So anyway, uh, there's another one. There is also a company that was one of my clients way back in 2008. That was from Italy. They had the wrong idea about CES. They thought CES was a standard trade show where you could make these little cars and sell them in your booth. And I tried to explain to them that's not what CES is about. Then they got mad at me because they didn't sell enough of these little bitty, cars. Uh, and there was nothing technologically advanced about them. They were cool, miniature automobiles, right? They weren't even so detailed that you could see the door handles in them. No, they weren't detailed. They were yay big. All right. What's what's 1% about that? I tell you, absolutely nothing. But Eureka Park was and is replete with companies like that. Some of them make mistakes. They're just trying to sell something. Okay, that's why I know for a fact that this quantum TV guy has no idea or no complete familiarity with CES. Now, if he went over there and he was saying, "Gee, I'm just talking about televisions," if he goes over to the Taiwan and the Asian pavilions in the North Hall, he's going to find a number of examples of TVs that are superbly advanced and yet dirt cheap. Uh, all you have to do is look or ask, okay? CES is huge. I mean, it is friggin' huge. And it's a wonderful, it's my mecca, all right? That's why I made the website CES Las Vegas News .com, because I love it so much, and I want to have a year round kind of presence, right? Even if, when I'm not able to go, I want it to be there in a sense. So here it is, right? That's it. CES Las Vegas News.com. Okay, you can read, Karen Thomas official Karen at party list right at the top. Karen, I always give you top exposure, and then CES 2026 events list by Nerd Ops. Then we've got CES. That's me, right? Talking about this man. Okay. Yeah. Whatever I make here and this comes up there, right? Then there's live at CES. This is a cool booth, the Bugatti. All right, look at that. Isn't that cool? All right. Okay, now that's definitely a 1% thing. All right. Then there were other presentations, Key Glock Live, and from compact RV to full size home at CES 2026. There's all kinds of interesting inventions, entrepreneurs. These folks want to sell what they're making, and they're not going to cut themselves off by the knees by catering only to the 1%. All right, they're just that just doesn't happen. Okay, and so um, it just doesn't happen. It's also something else that this gentleman does while I'm at the matter of discussing him, Quantum TV. He mentions another blogger, and not in a kind way. And I just want to instruct this young man. I see, opened his eyes there. Not to uh, criticize people, other YouTubers openly. If you have a beef with them, leave it to one video. Make your case, but don't don't make it video after video after video. You don't, because if you guys are doing that, at the worst, you may wind up in like that argument that turned into murder, where the fellow that did the murdering is now sitting in jail for the rest of his life in the Nevada area. That Don't let that be you. Okay, there is nothing so important about what you're beefing about. Like, this gentleman claims that the other gentleman gives out a lot of misinformation. Okay, I get it. All right, fine. Um, that other gentleman has his view. I don't delve into what he's saying or not. It's not my issue. But all I know is I would never found out anything about this other guy, even though I don't remember his name because it's not important to me, unless Quantum TV here, we're talking about him. All right. So it's like he's giving him, maybe they're actually trying to give each other advertisement by having a fake argument. Whatever the case, I hope it's fake. Okay, now back to my other point. Eureka Park. I thought this was, what was sad about this year's coverage at CES was that there just wasn't much media coverage of Eureka Park. At Eureka Park, there's always, something going on. You just have to want to do it. There was a lot of coverage of CES Unveiled, and a number of people at CES Unveiled had booths at Eureka Park. All right, and that and they had products also that were not, for the 1%. In And you have people like, for example, look at this. Eric Migovsky here says, we've got lots of Pebble T-shirts. Drop by booth 60247 Eureka Park. Okay, that's not a 1% thing. Pebble T-shirts. What's Pebble? Pebble is wearables with brains for people with heart. Turn any tiny moment of awesome into the best times ever. Tell the world how you make Pebble yours. All right. Okay, that doesn't sound expensive at all. Why is that a 1% thing? Then Michelle talks about CES Day 3, Venetian and Eureka Park. Eureka is huge and filled with small tech companies that join up under the banner of their country. Almost anything can be found here. You could spend all 4 days here and I'll not see all of it. Thank you, Michelle. You're absolutely right. I mean, and Michelle gives a good, let me see if I can turn this down here, all right? A good, that's the Eureka Park wall. These are all the folks that are at Eureka Park. I mean, it is enormous. It's not funny how many people are there, how many companies. And again, one of them, Bingy Lock. Bingy Lock's actually on 2 floors. So, and I'm sad that I wasn't able to go. Again, this is my mecca. I love meeting folks in Eureka Park who are from places like Holland and Denmark and Vietnam and uh, And London, London calling. Excuse me. London calling. London calling. So I love it. This is, I mean, if you don't like people, you don't like CES, all right? This CES is a place you've got to be. And look how many people there are, all right? And it's been more crowded than that. I've been there, it's been more crowded than that, okay? So, uh, and Las Vegas needs it. You know, they need the people. They don't need people being naysayers all the time and all that stuff. Okay, but anyway, you get the idea. All right. My point is this. I make my point. CES really is for everybody. It has something for everybody. You just have to look. And to say it's just for the 1% and that's it means that. And he admits he didn't go to CES. Don't do that. All right, just don't do that. That's just so not cool, brother. It's not. Uh, you can do better. All right, it really you can do better. Now, if you're talking about just televisions, okay, where I do see some changes that I find are bothersome, but they're centered on one or two companies like Sony. Sony has shrank. In 2010, Sony brought the Black Beauty car from the Green Hornet. Why? Because Sony was an executive producer of the movie, starring Seth Rogen, and that car I loved. I saw that car twice that year. I saw it at CES, and then I saw it at uh, Comic Con in San Diego. Okay, I have both on video. That car has a throaty voiced engine. Love the Black Beauty, based on a 1968 Chrysler Imperial. But I digress. Um, Fun times. Then Kelly Clarkson sang, uh, and they've had a number of celebrities at at the Sony booth. And the Sony booth was the largest at CES for some time until it was overtaken by Samsung, I believe, in 2015, 2014. Um, but no, then then a series of mishaps. First, there was the unfortunate movie called The um, Interview, which didn't put Sony in a good light. Um, and then there was the whole number of this scandal was the scandal after that, and then there was 6 years of Vision, which is now the uh, I call it the IE car, right? But it's basically the same car repeated over and over again. First, it was one part of different products and services that Sony was presenting at CES. Then the whole show dwindled to where it basically became just the car. That was this year, and arguably last year too. That's sad. Meanwhile, Sony has been dwindling workers. Yeah, PlayStation's still a thing, but you wouldn't know it from what Sony didn't present at CES. They didn't have a major presentation or announcement for uh, PlayStation. Know what I said? Major. Okay, if they had something or said something, it didn't hit my emails at all. Okay, so that's quite concerning. The AI, to me, the media, and a lot of the folks that were there are young and new. You can tell that it's, they're among their first time or second time or maybe third time, maybe fourth. Okay, but okay, maybe fifth, but that's it. And I would say I would venture a wager that the majority of media there were first time. And it showed they only paid attention to what they considered to be AI, which was really, and I don't discount this, which is really a robot that was controlled by somebody off stage. So you see these robots like they're Rock'em Sock'em fighters, right? But if you look carefully in the video, you would see this guy with his hand down, near his midsection. You're thinking, where is his hand in his midsection? That looks weird. And the midsection is he's got a an iPad of sorts, or a control pad, and he's fingering the control pad in time with the robot's movement, which means he's controlling the damn robot. All right, so it's not autonomous, uh, and but the movements of them are pretty doggone impressive. Even if they weren't autonomous, to make them stand and throw punches, and do what they were tasked to do is a major league advancement. And you, given if they've come that far, I think it's a fair bet that the next round of robots at CES 2027 will be controlled from the cloud. Will be self-operating. Some of them will be self-operating, and that will be a lot of fun to see. Okay, all right. But again, that's a 1% thing until robots get to that point where everybody can afford one. That's off into the future. I don't want to say way off, because technology has a tendency to miniaturize both in size and price, and come out with things that you didn't think you're going to be able to buy. Uh, there's that. Okay. So I really disagree with what this man was saying. I can't say that CES Las Vegas um, was for the 1% at all. It's very much for everybody. There's a lot going on. All you have to do, if you're on the press list, maybe he's not on the press list. I am. But if you're on the press, and if you're on the press list, as opposed to, I don't know what digital creators get, but I get the full press list. I get what companies are putting out from the Ukraine, from Tokyo, from America, from Caracas, from Venezuela. All right. So my point is, that would have been a cool interview. My point is that I like to give light to these great entrepreneurs who are making products that you and I can afford, and they're happy in a number of cases to give you a free version of that to test or take home. All you have to do is ask. It's happened to me and others. All right. So cut CES a break on this, my friend. All right. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark CESLasVegasNews.com. Thanks.